and welcome today to our webinar on the RN to BSN program. My name is Brooke Michael. I'm one of the advisors here at the University of Michigan-Flint in the School of Nursing. We're going to start off today with a question I get asked at a lot of table events or webinars, which is why choose the University of Michigan-Flint for your RN to BSN program? We're well aware that there are a lot of opportunities and options for an RN to BSN program, and what does ours offer that makes us stand out versus some of our competitors? So first off, we have no prerequisite classes required. So if you took anatomy and physiology, great, it transfers in, but it's not required. If you took chemistry, that transfers in, great, but not required. Statistics transfers in, and that's great, but it's not required. So it doesn't matter what classes your associate's degree in nursing required. We don't have any specific classes that we require that you transfer in from your ADM program in order to start our program. Also, we allow you to start into the RN to BSN curriculum even before you've passed your NCLEX or finished your associate's degree. This gives students the opportunity to do a concurrent plan, which means doing it simultaneously or alongside your associate's degree program so that you can speed up your graduation with your bachelor's degree in nursing. All of our classes are offered online every semester, and they're offered in every 7 weeks. So that gives you that opportunity to kind of go through our program at your own pace. You don't have to worry about if you need to take a semester off or take a break, having to wait a whole semester or a whole year for a class to be offered again. That class is going to be offered again in 7 weeks, so you can pick right back up where you were. This also gives you that opportunity to go as fast or slow through the program as you want. And that goes along with number 3, which is we do create personalized course plans for every single student. So we know that you may have gone through an associate's degree program with a friend or a colleague, but that doesn't mean you transferred in exactly the same things. And it also doesn't mean that you want to go through this program at the same pace. Some of you may want to go faster or slower. Some of you need to take time off. And that's why we create those personalized course plans for every single student. All of our coursework is in an online format. You do not have any visits to Flint. So you don't ever have to come to Flint unless you want to walk for graduation. And then we have experiential learning opportunities that are close and in your community. We have study abroad opportunities. Those study abroad opportunities can consist of a Kenya trip. Every spring we offer a Kenya trip, and you can use that as part of that experiential learning opportunity. We do have advisors that work with you from table event or one of these webinars all the way to graduation. We don't have an outside marketing company, so you don't have to worry about hearing something at one of these webinars or at a table event, and then when you finally get admitted and talk to your advisor, finding out something else. Every person you see at a table event or in one of these webinars is a University of Michigan employee, and on top of that, they're probably your RN to BSN advisor. We do have undergraduate certificate opportunities. We're going to talk about that more on the next slide. That gives you an opportunity to not only graduate with your bachelor's degree in nursing, but also a certificate in like leadership and management, case management, or nursing and healthcare informatics. We also have early assurance into our MSN and DNP program. Again, going to talk about that a little bit more on a future slide, but that's kind of basically where it holds a spot or holds a seat in our competitive admission MSN and DNP nurse practitioner programs. We also have an RN to DNP with MSN option for those students that want to skip their bachelor's degree and go straight into a nurse practitioner program. And finally, we do give you 15 credits for passing your NCLEX. So we're going to talk about that one on this slide. So once you have passed your nursing license or your NCLEX, you will get 15 credits for passing that NCLEX. So those 15 credits can go towards a couple of different roles, but one of the roles that it helps with is the 120 college credits. You do need a total of 120 college credits to have a bachelor's degree. Doesn't matter if you're getting a bachelor's degree in business or nursing, whether you go to University of Michigan or Michigan State, you have to have 120 college credits in order to have a bachelor's degree. So sometimes nursing associate's degree programs are only like 70 credits. And even with some of the general education classes you may still need, and our 30 credits in our curriculum, you wouldn't get to that 120 rule. So that is where those 15 credits come into play to help you meet that 120 rule. And then on top of that, just to keep in mind that you do have to complete a minimum of 30 credits at the University of Michigan-Flint in order to have a degree that says University of Michigan. And so that works out well because our nursing curriculum is exactly 30 credits. So let's talk about the transfer guidelines. So a grade must be a C or better to transfer into the university. You can transfer in as many credits as you want, but it has to have at least a C grade or better. If you have a C minus or a D, it will not transfer in. You do need a minimum GPA of a 2.0 overall, and that's everything that you've ever taken at a college or university. And you do need a 2.75 in your ADN or your nursing curriculum. Transfer credit, we always tell students, is subject to change. So make sure you speak to one of us as advisors before you take anything above and beyond what's required in your associate's degree in nursing program. If it's required for them, take it. Obviously, get that associate's degree in nursing. But if you're thinking about taking an extra class, maybe for general education or something like that, make sure you speak to us first, even if you're still early on in your associate's degree program, so that we can help make sure that class transfers in the way that's going to be most beneficial to you. So this is our nursing curriculum. I'm not going to go over it in great detail, but I wanted to give you a quick overview of how this works. So the top half of the page is your general education requirements. General education stay the same no matter if you're going for a degree in nursing or business. You have to have those general education categories met, and they're in yellow. You'll see them like English composition, finance and quantitative literacy, fine arts, humanities, etc. Most of my students transfer in the majority of these classes. So only students have maybe one, max two more classes that they need to take because they were built into their associate's degree program. Now, if you have the MTA stamp, Michigan Transfer Agreement stamp, on your transcripts from your community college, those general education categories are waived. So it doesn't matter what you took as far as whether you took a fine arts or not. If you have the MTA, Michigan Transfer Agreement stamp, on your transcripts, those general education credits are waived. If you're interested in getting the MTA, make sure to speak to your community college advisor. The MTA is owned by the community college, so they decide and dictate which classes are required to get that MTA stamp. But once they do, it's just kind of like that associate's degree of nursing. It's a degree confirmed on your transcripts. Once it's confirmed on your transcripts and sent to us, we waive or make go away all those general education requirements. Also, same scenario, if you have a previous bachelor's degree in a non-nursing area, let's say you once got a bachelor's degree in business or a bachelor's degree in healthcare, then went back to the community college to get an associate's degree in nursing. Again, those general education are also waived. The bachelor's degree just needs to be from a regionally accredited institution within the United States, and then we waive those gen eds. Again, if you did not complete all those general education classes because you don't have a previous bachelor's degree or the MTA, no worries. Like I said, you probably took the majority of these, and if there are any left that you have not taken, there's lots of options. You could still take it to community college and transfer it in, and we can talk about that. Or we offer these classes online every semester, so you can always just take them with us. You do not have to have your gen eds done in order to start our program. You can absolutely do them alongside your nursing curriculum. They don't need to be completed first. So the other classes down below are your nursing curriculum. You'll see those in the second half of the page, and that's your nursing curriculum. It is exactly 30 credits, which is the minimum that you must complete at the university. So let's talk about those certificate opportunities. Like I said before, there are 3 certificate opportunities. There is leadership in management, case management, and nursing and healthcare informatics. Now, I run an entire webinar just on these different certificate opportunities, and that webinar is on our website, or you can use that QR code right there to watch that video at a later time. And that will talk to you in great detail about these different opportunities. So the certificates I'm going to go over just quickly are 4 course certificates. You'll see the curriculum on the right-hand side. Like I said, you can add those on to your RN to BSN curriculum so that you graduate. You not only graduate with your BSN, but also a certificate in one of these areas. These certificates are really beneficial in the fact that not only can you put them on your resume to show that you have a certificate in those areas, you'll have a physical copy mailed to you just like a a diploma so they can hang it on your wall. And then also the content in these certificate courses is tailored towards the national accrediting exam. So if you decide you want to be nationally certified, the content will help you be successful in those exams. The great thing about it, like I mentioned before, is there are 4 courses in each certificate, but a lot of times the classes are already built into the RN to BSN program. So I'll go over the first one with you. And again, just watch that video if you want more questions or have more questions about it, or you can talk to your advisor about it once you're admitted. But like the leadership and management certificate, you see that listed very first there. You'll see that it says nursing 420 or 423. That's your leadership and management class. It has that little red asterisk next to it. And at the bottom, you'll see if it has a red asterisk next to it, that course is built into your RN to BSN program. So if you went back to that last slide, you'll see that you're going to be taking nursing 423. So when you take nursing 423, leadership and management for the RN to BSN class, it double counts also with the certificate. Same thing with nursing 370, health policy, required course in the RN to BSN program. And so you're taking that no matter what, and it can double count for the certificate. Then you have 2 classes left, nursing 380. Nursing 380 can be your nursing elective. You'll see on the back slide that you are required to take at least 1 nursing elective. If you specifically take nursing 380 as your nursing elective, then it can double count as your nursing elective for the RN to BSN program along with the certificate required course. And then finally, you will see our IPE classes where it says choose one from that list. And then you'll see a whole bunch of options there. Sometimes students transfer those in, and then also sometimes they can double count them with a general education requirement. So for example, let's say that you hadn't met your humanities requirement in general education. If you take philosophy 271, it's listed there. You can double count it as your general education requirement in humanities, along with the required course in your leadership certificate. So again, if you work closely with your advisor, there's a chance that you can double count all these classes in a different category and it not actually cost you any additional money or time, and you graduate with both your RN to BSN and the certificate. Again, if you have additional questions, please watch that webinar there and you'll see that QR code there. We also have the SANE certificate. So the SANE or Sexual Assault Nurse Examiner certificate is another certificate that we offer at the University of Michigan-Flint. It has its own slide because it has its own set of rules. The last certificates that you saw were fully online. There was no visits to Flint required. So this certificate has the content online, but it does require some visits to Flint. So keep that in mind. You have a 2.5-day immersion course that you need to come to Flint for. So with this certificate and content all online, but you do need to come to Flint with this one only. This does also have some experience requirements to it. The other certificates do not, and neither does the RN to BSN program. We don't require any work experience, but this certificate only, SANE certificate, does require that you have been a registered nurse for at least 2 years, a working registered nurse for a minimum of 2 years. So this certificate is also funded by a HRSA grant. So you could get the certificate paid for completely free if you live in an underserved or low income area. So if you have questions about this certificate, you want to reach out to Vicki specifically because it is funded by a HRSA grant. Vicki is the advisor for this certificate and this certificate only. So we also run a webinar on this one as well. So you can attend Vicki's webinar. They're once a month, and you can get more information at that website down below. So early assurance. Early assurance is where I spoke about before, where it kind of holds your spot or holds your seat in our competitive admission MSN and DNP programs. So we have 4 nurse practitioner tracks. We have family nurse practitioner, acute care nurse practitioner, gero-primary nurse practitioner, and psychiatric mental health nurse practitioner. So if you're interested in becoming a nurse practitioner after your BSN, you can potentially qualify to hold a spot or hold a seat in our competitive admission MSN and DNP programs. Because we know that you are well educated and that our information is in our RN to BSN program is going to allow you to be successful in graduate programs. They kind of hold a spot or a seat for you. So after you completed 4 of the required courses in the curriculum, which are NSC 180, Nursing 300, 307, and 316 with a B+ or better, you will fill out that Google form and tell them when you will be done with your BSN and when you want to start into graduate programs. And then what will happen is they will kind of hold that spot or that seat in the admissions of your MSN and DNP program. Again, I run an entire webinar on this early assurance program. So I highly suggest, if this is something that you're interested in, watching that webinar earlier rather than later, even if you are just now starting into the program, so that you can know when to apply and what steps you have. So then we have our RN to DNP with MSN option. So this is for my high achieving associate's degree nurse. You do need a 3.5 GPA or better in your last 60 credits, which is going to be the majority of your associate's degree. And so in order to do or admit for this program skips the bachelor's degree in nursing. So you will never be awarded a BSN, but you do get the opportunity to go into MSN and DNP curriculum without completing all the BSN coursework. You do need to finish some of the RN to BSN curriculum, and you'll see those classes in the bullet point in the middle. Those classes are your prerequisite classes that must be completed before you can start into graduate level curriculum. So some of those classes can transfer in, like English 112 or NSC 180, but the majority of those you would take with us. They're also part of the RN to BSN curriculum, but again, remember that you're cutting out some of the RN to BSN curriculum and you're cutting out gen eds and other rules, so there's no chance to get a BSN with this track. If you're interested in skipping the BSN and doing an RN to MSN with DNP program, the webinar is offered every month, so you can attend that in live. It's traditionally the second Wednesday of every month. You can go to our website down there to RSVP for the next upcoming webinar, or you can watch the pre-recorded webinar right there with that QR code. So let's talk about some common questions that a lot of students have about our RN to BSN program. So how many credits can you transfer in? You can transfer in as many credits as you want. If you have 180 credits, awesome. You can transfer all 180 credits in. But keep in mind that you do need to complete at least 30 credits with the University of Michigan-Flint. So even if you've got 180 credits, that's awesome. You still need to complete at least 30 credits with us. And as we mentioned before, that's how many credits are in our curriculum. When can I start? Prospective students can start in the fall, winter, or summer. We admit every 7 weeks. So every 7 weeks, there's an opportunity to admit. There's 2 admit starts in the fall, 2 admit starts in the winter, 2 admit starts in the summer. You can take time off if life happens, because like I said, every class is offered every 7 weeks. And as long as you don't take more than a year off, you don't have to reapply or readmit to the program. As I mentioned on the very first slide, you can start into our program before finishing your associate's degree in nursing and or before passing your NCLEX. Are the instructors from the University of Michigan-Flint? Yes, these are the same instructors as if you came to main campus. This is not some sort of correspondence course where we're just hiring random faculty to teach these classes. These are University of Michigan-Flint faculty. If you come to campus, you can meet them. Is the degree a University of Michigan degree? I know that word Flint kind of throws students off. Yes, this is a University of Michigan degree. It is the same diploma, whether you went to Ann Arbor, Dearborn, or Flint, signed by the same regents, and you have the same alumni benefits. So what are your next steps? So we always suggest applying first and then booking an appointment. So here's the application website. You just visit that website. And the application is free and it's good for an entire year. So when you're applying, make sure to pick BSN completion as your major. Even if you are still in your associate's degree program or you haven't passed your NCLEX yet, you are picking BSN completion as your major. You will be directly admitted into the BSN program, even if you don't have an associate's degree or NCLEX. You just won't be able to progress onto the 400 level courses without that NCLEX, but you can directly admit and there's no secondary application. So make sure you're picking RN to BSN. Do not pick pre-nursing as your major. That will get you in the wrong program and then you'll just have to go in and change your major. After you apply, you're going to send in a copy of your transcripts from every college you attended. I know sometimes you get a transcript and you're like, oh, there's my old classes from another school listed there. That does not count. You still need to send in a transcript from every school attended. Now, you can send in an unofficial transcript to get admitted, but we would need an official at a later date. The unofficial needs to be legible, it needs to have your name on it, and it needs to have the college's name on it in order for us to accept it. We do recommend sending all your transcripts electronically. If your school has an electronic option for official transcripts, that's great. Or go to the clearinghouse and get them sent that way because it's the fastest way to get admitted. After you apply, normally once we receive your transcripts, you're admitted within like 72 business hours, and then you can book a phone appointment with one of us to go over what transferred in, what you still need, if there's anything you can still take at the community college, and how fast or slow you want to go through our program. So this is how you book an appointment. You go to our website, you can book a face-to-face phone or a virtual appointment. Face-to-face appointments are offered in Flint and Lansing, and then we have phone and virtual appointments Monday through Friday with extended time slots on Monday, Tuesdays, and Thursdays for phone and virtual anytime between 6 a.m. and 9 p.m. So tuition and scholarships. So the tuition is currently at $568 per credit hour, but almost every one of my students qualifies for a scholarship. So please, twofold, make sure you have a FAFSA on file. Make sure you filled out the current FAFSA because you need a FAFSA on file to get most scholarships. Even if you're not going to use your financial aid from the federal government, or you don't think you would qualify for a grant or loan, you still need a FAFSA on file to get scholarships a lot of times. So fill that out if you haven't already, or if you have filled it out, make sure our name is added to your current FAFSA. Then read through all these different scholarships. Each website has multiple scholarships, and there's lots of different criteria. Some are based on GPA, some are not. Some are based on where you lived, some are not. Some are based on a gap in education, some are not. So read through these. Almost all of my students end up qualifying for at least one scholarship. I'm going to go over two of our most common or most popular scholarships on the next page, but again, please read through these scholarships. So the Go Blue Guarantee. Go Blue Guarantee is for all three campuses. It is a full ride scholarship. So first off, again, you must have a FAFSA on file. So make sure you do that first. It normally takes about 2 weeks after you fill out the FAFSA for it to be received by us from the federal government. So once you do that, you can see if you qualify for the Go Blue Scholarship. There's a couple of caveats that you need to keep in mind in order to get Go Blue. First off, you must go full-time. So I know some of my students aren't able to do that due to working full-time. So keep that in mind. It is a full ride scholarship. Sometimes students are able to cut back a little bit at work because this is basically like a secondary paycheck, right? Full free school, right? So, but keep in mind, you must take at least 12 credits a semester in order to get Go Blue. The other thing is that you do need a transfer GPA of a 3.5 or better. So, keep that in mind as well. You must start in a fall or a winter semester. It does not qualify for a summer start, even though you can start our program in the summer. It only pays out in fall and winter terms. You must be going for your first bachelor's degree. So if you're that student I talked about earlier that has a previous bachelor's degree, it does not count for Go Blue. And then you do have to have a certain family income, and that will be determined from your FAFSA. So even if you look at those numbers and you're like, oh, I don't think I qualify, go ahead and fill out the FAFSA just in case, because sometimes it takes into consideration other aspects as far as family contributions as well as dependents and things like that. So make sure you fill out the FAFSA, and then you can book an appointment with our financial aid department about 2 weeks after you filled out that FAFSA in order to see if you qualify. Second scholarship that almost every one of my students qualify for is the transfer scholarship. Now this scholarship, unlike Go Blue, you only need a 3.0 GPA, and most of my students have a 3.0 GPA. So, and the other great thing about this scholarship is you can go full-time, part-time, or 3/4 time. Now the money is different if you go to full-time versus part-time or 3/4 time. You can see that there at the middle bullet points, but you can get awarded this scholarship even if you're just going part-time. Part-time Part-time is a minimum of 6 credits a semester. Not 6 credits every 7 weeks, but 6 credits every fall, 6 credits every winter, etc. Again, it is only awarded out in a fall and winter term, not in a summer term, so keep that in mind. But if you have additional questions or you want to see if you qualify, you can email admissions. This scholarship is just automatically awarded. There's nothing you need to do above and beyond. Start in a fall or winter, go at least part-time 6 credits or more, and have a 3.0 GPA or better. But if you have additional questions or want to make sure that it's added to your account, again, reach out to admissions. So this is the end of our presentation. Again, my name is Brooke Michael. You see my name and contact information there. You'll also see the other advisor, Tiffany Bishop and Jennifer Spinney. You're not assigned an advisor. You can work with any of us or all of us throughout your career here at the University of Michigan-Flint. If you have any additional questions after watching this presentation, feel free to reach out to us, and we hope you have a great rest of your day.